Before we begin training or even learning how to ride a horse, there are an important set of principles that we must learn to follow. These are what I call the 3 C's principles. These involve staying calm at all times when you're working with the horse, being clear in the application of your instructions to the horse, and being consistent in the application of those instructions as well.
Horses are flight animals, humans are predators. So straight away there is a conflict. To overcome this, we must earn the trust and respect of the horse. This has to be done by ensuring that the horse learns not to think of us as the predator or the threat. And we can only do this if at all times we remain calm. The moment we cross the border from calmness to anger, the horse's flight instinct will heighten, and at the very least the horse will be less receptive to what we are asking it to do. We can never achieve harmony with a horse if we cross from calmness to anger. At times you will need to be assertive, but it should be calm assertiveness, not anger or frustration. Calmness is not something that comes easily to everyone. It's a skill and we need to develop it. We need to train ourselves to remain calm in all situations so that we're always sending off relaxed, harmonious energy to the horse. Having established that we are going to be calm, next we need to ensure that our instructions are always clear. And that means clear to the horse, not the trainer. You must learn to think from the perspective of the horse, and in this way you will ensure that your instructions are always clear to the horse. Many people make the mistake of thinking they are asking the horse to do something in a clear way when the reality is that the horse has no idea whatsoever.
Let's go over there! Here we go.
This is always most obvious with young horses. For instance, the young horse doesn't know that pressure with the leg on the side means to go forward. We have to find a way to make that instruction clear, and that is done by rewarding the horse each time it responds. The reward in the case of the young horse we are asking to go forward is to lighten the leg the moment that it shifts its energy. Then the horse understands. I go forward, the leg lightens up. It is clear to the horse, and in that way we can train the horse. Horses learn behaviour by habit and by conditioning. Therefore, in order to train a horse, we need to be absolutely consistent. If the instructions are clear to the horse and then are consistently applied in a calm way, the horse will learn very quickly. The horse has 4 paces: the walk, trot, the canter and the gallop. Now in each of these paces they move slightly faster, the walk being the slowest and the gallop obviously being the fastest, but they also move their legs in a different sequence in each of these paces.
The walk is a 4-beat pace. The sequence of footfalls in the walk is the off hind, then the off 4, then the near hind and then the near 4. In the walk, the horse should be at least tracking up. That is, that the hind hoof should land into the footprint made by the front hoof. The trot has 2 beats with a moment of suspension. The sequence of footfalls is the off hind and the near 4 together, and the off 4 and the near hind together. As they shift from one to the other, there is a moment when all 4 legs are off the ground. The canter has 3 beats with a moment of suspension. The sequence on the right rein is the near hind, then the off hind and the near 4 together, then the off 4, and then a moment when all 4 legs are off the ground.
The gallop is the fastest of the paces and has 4 beats with a moment of suspension. The sequence of footfalls for a horse galloping on the left rein is off hind, near hind, then off 4, followed by the near 4, and a moment when all 4 hooves are off the ground. The gallop is ridden with the rider standing in the stirrups. As with the canter, the sequence of footfalls changes depending on which rein the horse is travelling.
Establishing a good riding position takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and generally the help of a good instructor. But there are a few points that you can think about every time you get on the horse to try and improve your position. The first of these is you should always be trying to establish a straight line from your shoulder, through your hip and down to your heel. This will ensure that your centre of balance stays nicely with the horse's centre of balance. Your weight should be centred in your seat bones and you should be sitting in the deepest part of the saddle. Your elbows should be nice and relaxed by your side. They should almost feel a little bit heavy. And then there should be a nice line when the horse is going well from your elbow to the wrist and down to the horse's mouth. Your knee should be resting on the saddle, not gripping, but just resting on the saddle there, and your lower leg should be wrapped nicely around the horse, down to a nice deep heel, which should be below your toe, and the stirrup should be nicely centered across the ball of your foot. If you can get all these things in place, you're going to be nice and centered and balanced. If we took the horse away from underneath you, you should land in a balanced position, like that. You shouldn't fall over forward or fall backwards. And establishing this is really important to being able to use your aids correctly to get the horse to work well for you. Maintaining a good position will help you to use your aids correctly and to get good responses from your horse. The basic aids that we use to give instructions to the horse are reins and hands, legs, seat and back, weight and voice. The hands are the most often misused aid and must always be remembered that they are there to support the other aids, not to dominate them. They are used to help control the direction and to assist with the hold. Try to imagine when you hold the reins that you have a pair of birds in your hand. You have to hold them so that the birds don't escape, but not so tightly that you squash them. The rider's legs are of vital importance and are used to control the horse's legs, to assist with direction and to provide power or impulsion. If you want more power from the horse, you will need to use more leg. The seat and back are used to help improve the forward drive or impulsion. It is also through the seat and lower back that we learn to absorb the movement of the horse. Weight is a very important aid. When balanced correctly and in a good position, subtle changes in weight will help steer and balance the horse. Correct positioning of the head, and in particular looking ahead in the direction you want to go, is an important part of using your weight correctly. The voice can be a useful aid in calming the horse and at times the rider. You're not allowed to use the voice when riding a dressage test, but for basic training, rewarding a horse, and particularly when starting a young horse, the voice can be very useful. Of course, the horse cannot understand what words are said. It's the tone of the voice which is important. When you are riding well, all of the aids will be used independently and will collectively help each other. One thing to remember when you're riding is to breathe. Many people concentrate hard and don't breathe in a relaxed way. Good relaxed breathing will really help you to use your aids correctly. Finding a good instructor can make a big difference to your riding. With the right instructor you can really progress quite quickly and move on. You don't need an Olympic level rider to teach you when you're starting out, but there are certain qualities which a good instructor should have. A good instructor should be encouraging and constructive, never rude and abusive. You should come away from a lesson feeling like you've learned something and that you know what you are working towards. You should feel that you are improving. If you think back after 6 months and you feel you haven't progressed, then there's probably something wrong. The general atmosphere of any good riding establishment should be calm and relaxed and friendly. A good instructor should also generally be able to demonstrate what it is that they've asked you to do on the horse. Ideally, your instructor should be qualified. In Australia, that would be an EFA National Coaching Accreditation Scheme qualification. Although of course there are many good instructors who don't have formal qualifications. Above all else, a good instructor, an instructor who's right for you, will make your lessons and your riding enjoyable. You may need to change instructors and move on as you improve your riding. There shouldn't be a problem with this. Most good instructors will recognise that it's a good thing to learn from different people. Let's hear what Amanda Ross has to say about what she looks for in a good instructor.
I'd like to see somebody that's learning themselves. Someone that is either out there competing or has done well, and someone that's interested in watching what's going on at the time, watching or learning from another person so that all the new information keeps filtering in through your instructor. Someone that understands learning, understands that it can be difficult the first time you try something, and if the horse doesn't go well it can be quite frustrating. But someone that also is very direct. They don't kid you. They don't say you're going really well when you're bouncing all over the place and you think, I don't think I am. So someone that's very direct, very straightforward, preferably someone that can get on your horse and help you improve it, you know, help you ride it and get it going for you, and somebody that's up with the times.
Pony Club provides great opportunities for young people to continue their riding development. At Pony Club you can make great friendships and you'll receive instructions in all the different disciplines, including dressage, eventing, show jumping, games. You'll be able to go out and do musical rides, compete in teams events and individual events. It's a great chance to get out there, mix with other horse people and really enjoy your time with your horse.
The Pony Club gives you the opportunity to try everything. Try any discipline you like. You know, you can event, you can show jump, you can show, you can camp draft, you can do anything like that. And then whichever one you tend to migrate to is obviously what you're going to be good at.
I think kids do need to hoon. They have to play those games and learn self-preservation and just balance the games. I think kids that miss out on playing all those games miss out on a lot. I think you learn a lot about horses doing all those things, just going for rides, and the children playing games. I think they have to do that.
Pony Club is open to people between the ages of 5 and 21, and there's usually a monthly rally at which riders are grouped according to their experience. The rally will normally consist of 2 to 3 hours riding, plus a theory session, and you do need to try to have your horse reasonably fit to be able to cope with the long day. Pony Club shouldn't be seen as a replacement for regular instruction, but it can be an important part of your horse skills development. There are 3 Olympic equestrian disciplines. These are dressage, show jumping and eventing. These are the only events in the Olympics where men and women compete against each other. Dressage competitions have been traditionally dominated by European countries, particularly Germany. It is a rapidly growing sport and competitions start at beginners level and move up. Dressage competitions are held in 20 metre by 40 metre arenas for some lower level tests and 20 metre by 60 metre arenas for all other tests. All arenas use a conventional lettering system to indicate where movement should begin and finish, but the origins of this lettering system are obscure. A dressage test is marked by up to 5 judges, with the horse and rider being awarded a mark out of 10 for each movement or series of movements. Most horse breeds can perform well at the lower levels, but it takes a special horse to cope with the years of training and the demands of the higher levels of dressage. Let's ask Rebecca Fenner what it takes to succeed at dressage.
Yeah, discipline, dedication and determination. Those are the 3 Ds. You're dealing with a living thing and a brain of its own, so you just basically have to be dedicated to just keep plugging away. Day after day you're going to have highs and lows. You've got to have a certain fitness level. It depends. If you want to go as far as you can, you really do have to be fit, you have to be dedicated and determined, I think, really.
So what about the horse? What qualities should a good dressage horse have?
movement is very important, of course, for dressage. They've got to be flashy moving, loose, supple, extravagant, so it catches the judge's eye. Temperament, they've got to have a good brain for trainability, because you can have the best moving horse but he never makes it because mentally he can't cope. Conformation's important also, because they've got to be able to physically do the high movements. When you get up the grades, they've got to be able to compress, contract, extend, collect, engage. And if you aren't built in the right way in the first place, then you probably can't do it.
Cantering down to a big jump provides one of the great thrills of riding, and although not as old as dressage, show jumping is a spectacular and exciting sport. There are many different types of competitions, but in simple terms, the objective is to get around a set course without knocking any poles down or without the horse stopping at any jumps. Show jumping horses come in many different breeds, but it takes a special horse to make it to international level competition, where the height of jumps is over 150 centimetres. Alison Rowland competed at the World Cup finals. Let's get her thoughts on show jumping.
Self-discipline is the main thing. You definitely need a hell of a lot of that. Good work ethics. And I just think, determination.
If you're looking for a horse, you're out there looking for a young horse that you think might go on as a show jumper, what are the qualities in that horse that you look for?
Well, firstly, I think they have to have a sound conformation. Sound conformation horses usually don't break down so easily. But then for show jumping, they need to be athletic. Very careful. I go for carefulness first, and then scope. And I mean, they have to be brave as well, but you can teach them to be brave. Careful means they really watch the rails and really want to stay away from the fences. You know, they really, like this one's really sharp in front, and she's pretty good behind too, but it's wanting to jump the fence, not touch those rails. Scope is, the ability to jump big tracks, big size fences, and be able to cover the ground between the fences.
What about in terms of temperament for the horse?
I don't mind the difficult ones, because I find the difficult ones are usually the best ones. But, starting off, I think they need to have something with a pretty good temperament.
Eventing was originally designed to test the training, courage and stamina of military horses and their riders. The sport evolved in the 20th century to test the dressage, cross-country and show jumping skills of the horse and rider combinations, as well as the stamina and determination. Eventing is a demanding sport for both horse and rider, and thoroughbreds are the chosen mount for most top competitors because of their speed and endurance. These horses must be super fit, but still capable of being controlled in a dressage test. Amanda Ross is one of Australia's leading eventing riders and competed at the Sydney 2000 Olympics. Amanda, what do you look for in a good eventing horse?
They have to be of a certain type, but if you're looking at the lower levels, their temperament is the most important thing. I think you can have the most beautiful type of horse that has the best jumping technique and moves like a ballerina, but it can be a complete fruitcake. So looking for the ideal temperament that is quiet, is very trainable, preferably something that as a young horse I can see it walk, trot and canter and maybe jump a fence. And then if it's easy to work with, you can train it better than something that's a little bit scatty.
What advice would you give to young people just starting out in eventing?
Well, it's not very easy. Horses they're unpredictable in the sense that you have to work at them. You can't say to them, I want you to do a perfect dressage test and jump clear, because they don't understand. It comes through a rapport with horse and rider, and the work that you put in at home is 90% of the effort. It's not all about competing. So I think for someone that's dedicated, that has a love of animals, and that genuinely wants to work at something that's very rewarding and very enjoyable, and it's extremely social as well, I think it's a fantastic sport.
Do you have to be a bit mad to be an eventer?
Well, everybody else seems to think so, but I think you need to have that courage and be able to focus. I think if you get nervous by things, little things here and there, then it probably doesn't help your cross-country riding. But no, I think you just have to appreciate an adrenaline rush, a bit like bungee jumping.
You don't need to be out there competing with your horse if you don't want to. You can just relax and enjoy riding out on the trail and enjoy spending time with your horse. Try to follow as many of the ideas as you can in this video. They will help you to find the correct horse, and they'll also help you to keep your horse healthy. Good luck with your horse ownership. We filmed this video in the Dandenong Ranges, which are about 40 kilometres outside of Melbourne in Australia. It's a beautiful part of the world, and it's a part of the world that is probably the most accessible for horse owners. It's relatively cheap to keep a horse around this area. You've got good pasture, you've got a mild climate, and so it's really not an elite sport around the Melbourne area, around the Dandenong Ranges. It's actually a sport that's open and accessible to everyone, and you have all the full range of horse activities participated in. We've got show jumpers around here and dressage riders, and we've got lots of people who just like to have a horse to ride out on the trail on the weekends. So it's a fantastic horse area. There's a change that's probably happened over the past 20 years or so in the horse world. It used to be a pretty tough world. It used to be pretty rugged. The ideas of breaking in horses were really around the word breaking. You tied up their leg and you thrashed them a little bit, and you really forced the horse to do what you wanted it to do. Fortunately, that's changed. Most horse people are now much more in tune with the needs of their horse and have a much better understanding of their horse. And I've been a part of that change, in that I've really encouraged people to think about how to work with the horses. And the methods that I've developed for training young horses and for working with people and teaching them to work with horses are really based on the idea of getting in harmony and in balance with the horse, of understanding the horse, of learning how to think from the horse's perspective, and of treating the horse with respect and as an individual. And if we do that, then we can find a way through most problems with our horses. The important thing when you're learning with horses and when you're training horses is to draw upon ideas from a whole range of people, and that's what I've done. I've looked at as many videos as I can, I've been to as many seminars and trained with as many people as I can, and I've got ideas from a lot of different people which I'm then able to use in different situations. Every horse is different. Therefore, we have to be prepared to be flexible in our training. I don't think there is only one way that we can go in terms of training a horse. As well as that, every person is different, and we have to find a way that works best for us. So we've got to find the way to link an individual person's personality with the horse's personality, and try and find a way that we can then work in harmony together. Well, I think one of the really great things about working with horses is that you're always learning about yourself. I think all of the good trainers have learned a lot about themselves along the way to becoming good horse trainers.
you have to learn calmness, and you have to learn patience, and you have to learn how to respect the horses and how to respect yourself. And I think unless you're really developing and learning along the way as you train horses, you probably will never become a truly good horse trainer. Training young people and training young horses are not that different, and many of the ideas that we use in the teaching profession in schools are not that different from what I use when I'm starting out young horses. And I try and bring the two things together. So what I'm trying to do when I'm training horses is teach them to be calm, to be relaxed enough that they can really think well and work through different situations. And when we start out with young people, we're trying to teach them about respect for the horse and understanding the horse, and then once they're up on the horse, we try and teach them how to really tune into the horse, to be so relaxed physically up there that they're in tune with the horse and that they're able to move with the horse. Because once you really start to move with the horse, to be in harmony with the horse, and to have the horse respond to very small instructions that you're giving it, it's a really beautiful feeling. That's one of the great joys of horse riding. I never cease to be amazed by how quickly horses can learn. They really do have an extraordinary ability to trust us and to learn and to be flexible in their own thinking. And I think that's something that we can learn from them in many ways. Well, if you're around horses all the time, as my son is, you can start riding as young as 3. But really for most kids, owning and riding a horse would probably start at about 7 or 8. But then you're never too old. I've had pupils who've started as old as 60, and they've had a great deal of fun learning to ride as well. So really age isn't a limit one way or the other, but you've got to be passionate about it. You've got to really want to be out there working with horses, riding with horses, riding the horses. If you're just doing it for peer pressure or because you think it just might be fun to own a horse, it's not really the right reasons. You've got to really want to own a horse, and you need to sort that out first of all, because you need to be prepared to make the full commitment that is required to really look after that horse properly.